What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, talking shining victories in this set. You know, this set is looking pretty interesting. I don't think that it's going to be quite, well, it might be a little early, but it probably won't be quite the behemoth or juggernaut that Breaker of Shadows is going to be. But there are some pretty interesting things that are going to be released in this set, such as the new Water Mirror Force. This is called Rippling Mirror Force. Here's a picture of the artwork. Konami just revealed this via the OCG Twitter account that they released, basically new cards in the set and whatnot. And you guys probably have realized by now that Konami is making a Mirror Force for every attribute, or it seems anyways. I mean, we've had Storming Mirror Force, Blazing Mirror Force. We'll be getting the Sandstorm Mirror Force, which sets monsters face down permanently. That card is actually a lot better than I thought it was, because I didn't realize at first that the monsters that get set face down, they're set permanently. So essentially the only way to get them off of the field, other than your opponent killing them, is to like tribute them. And a lot of decks don't really run tribute summons unless you're running, like, I guess, well, Cosmos can do it easily, but unless you're running like the Magispector Unicorn, or well, maybe in Magicians, because they've got some high level monsters, but it's still, the card's still better than I thought. So anyways, Rippling Mirror Force, I read the effect. It's very simple. I think this card is hella amazing. It's a normal trap, of course. You guys once again can see the artwork here, and it says when an opponent's monster attacks directly, shuffle all face-up attack position monsters your opponent controls into the deck. I mean, you thought that everybody has thought Storming Mirror Force was like the bee's knees, and it really has been. Against like Cosmos, you don't want to like destroy the monsters because the spaceships will obviously trigger, and then something like Wicked Witch, they could just pay 100 or 1,000 life points, and you won't even kill it. And a card like Blazing Mirror Force, you might end up killing yourself with it. Granted, people are immediately going to say, well, Cap, it has to be a direct attack, which means that this is not going to save any of your monsters. However, it will save your bacon. It can save your life just like the other cards can. But the thing about this is, and what I like about it the most, is it spins them back to the deck, which is just, holy jeez, that's so good, because spinning back to the deck is the best answer for killing or dealing with a monster or a back row. Like, it's the best way of getting rid of cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I can't think of anything that triggers when it's spun back to the deck. In fact, a lot of things that say that they will trigger when they leave the field, like things like Reborn Tengu, they actually won't trigger if they're sent back to the deck. And that's pretty much like the only way to get those cards off of the field without triggering them. So, I mean, in an era where people like to try and clear your board and then spam like 5 or 6 pendulums, this is a great way of dealing with those, because if you Stormy Mirror Force like a pendulum summon of like 4 monsters, you're not really doing anything. But if you spin said monsters back to the deck, it doesn't matter if they go to the extra deck, if they're Exceeds, Synchros, Effect monsters, normals, like when you get spun back to the deck, everything is kind of created equal, and all of those monsters that your opponent pendulum summoned, they're no longer resources. It doesn't cost any life points. Again, the only downside to this card will be that it will never protect any of your monsters, because you only can activate it during a direct attack. But even with that said, I think the card is very good. Unless by the time Shining Victories comes out, we're not in a pendulum era for some reason, I see this card definitely seeing play. Because the thing about it is, like, when you use Mirror Forces now, or not even say Mirror Forces, Battle Traps, which don't see a lot of play. Like, the Battle Traps really aren't necessarily to protect your monsters. They're more or less about getting your opponent's monsters off board. Like, Stormy Mirror Force is one of the best ways to not only kill extra deck monsters and just get rid of them, but to get rid of the Cosmos spaceships. This card does exactly the same thing. Like, you usually don't win because you stopped an attack and you got to keep a monster. Like, you usually win off the Battle Traps because you dealt with your opponent's monsters. But like, if you compare this to Stormy Mirror Force, it's so much more permanent. It's so much more permanent than, sending a monster back to the hand and then maybe they end up summoning it in main phase 2. With this, it's like, you're not gonna be able to summon it. So I'm crossing my fingers that Konami doesn't dick us over and make this a secret rare. We all know what happened with Stormy Mirror Force. That whole shenanigan card was like $60 upon release. I think it's still like pushing 40 right now. So let me know what you guys think. I think this card's great. Thank you guys for watching as always.